Good day, dear listener, and you are welcome to today's tutorial lesson. In today's tutorial session, we are going to be walking you through how to set up the EduPortal software for your school. So to start with, we log in using our school credentials. So when we provide the school credentials, we log in, and for new schools, we have nothing set. So we are going to be seeing this no active session found. So because this is a new school, we don't have any session yet. So we are going to be configuring this app from scratch. As you can see here under session, we do not have any session created. So this is for an entirely new school. So because of that, we are going to be starting this from the scratch, and we have divided this lesson into different parts. So for this first part, we are going to be setting up and activating a session. We are going to be setting up the school configuration, and then finally we will set up terms for this first part of the lesson. So to get started, let's start by setting up and activating a session. So remember, when you are logged in, it brings you to the dashboard here. So when it brings you to the dashboard, you have this notification, you come to session and you click on add session. So when it brings you to this place, you simply type out the session. Let's take 2024/2025 academic session. You can see here we don't have any session created yet. So we set the status of the session to activate, and we save changes. So when we click on save changes, it automatically activates this session. And if you've created other sessions, you will have all the sessions listed here. So you can choose to activate or deactivate anyone. For instance, we'll just create another session, let's say 2023-2024. So we won't activate this because we want to be working with 2024-2025. So we'll deactivate this one, so you can see that all the sessions will be listed below, and you can see 2023-2024 is deactivated. Now we have 2025 session activated, and we also have the option of always editing this by using this action button. When we click on this action button, we can always edit the status of that session. So it brings us here, and you see you can choose to deactivate 2024-2025 session. So that will be all for the session creation and activation. We have successfully created and activated a new session, and when we come to the dashboard, we will discover that the active session has been set automatically to 2024/2025 academic session, and we no longer have that notification that tells us that no session has been set yet. Next, we want to set up the school configuration. Now to do that, we simply click on school config. We click on school config. That's from the dashboard here. We go to school config. Now for the school configuration, we have a number of things we can change from here. So the school ID and the school website, we cannot change these two, but every other thing we can change. The contact number of the school 08012345678. We can also change the school email if we want to. We can change the school name, we can change the school address, the principal's name can be changed, and the principal's signature, we can change that by simply uploading an image of the principal's signature from our computer. By clicking on choose file, it automatically opens a window where we get to select from existing images we have or from the principal signature. Then for the school academic years, what this simply means, if your school has 6 classes, that's just 1 to SS3, 6 classes. That means number of academic years should be 6. But if your school has primary 1 to 5 and also JS1 to SS3, that's 11 classes. So you have 11 academic years. Note that JS1A, JS1B, JS1C are all counted to be one academic year, so they are all one class, so you do not include that. You just use the main class and not the class arm. So you have JS1 to SS3 as 6 academic years. So for this, that means primary 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, JS1, 2, and 3, and we also have SS1, 2, and 3 to give us 11 academic years. So we can choose how we want to compute the report. So result computation we can choose from here. Then we can set the active term from here. For now, we do not have any active term set, so we'll come back to this when we have set up terms. So we can choose on whether we want to show the principal's comment on annual report or not, display results or not, and we can also change the school logo by also clicking on choose file. We can come to the desktop and choose a file. Now we can select, or we can decide whether we want the subject teacher to be able to compute results. So if we do not want, we can block the subject teacher's access to result computation, and this as well applies to the class teacher. We can allow or disable the class teacher's access to result, and we can also allow third term result or show annual results only. Then for this news flash, this is what displays on the school website itself. For instance, this is platform demo. So when we come to the demo website, you can see this is the news flash. School resumes on the 22nd of January 2025, which is this. So if we choose to edit this, let's use 2026. So we can't edit it for now because we have not set up an active term, which is what we are going to be doing next. So we'll come back to this. Now to set up and activate a term, we simply come to terms, and under terms we have two things we want to do. First, we want to add a term group, and then secondly we want to add the terms. So for now we do not have any term group. Now in a session we usually have 3 terms, so we can just call this standard term group, because a standard session is made up of 3 terms, so we can call this standard term groups. You can call it anything you like. And now you can see we have the standard term groups here. We can always edit this by clicking on this action button here, and we can rename it if we want to. So having done that, next we want to add the terms. So you click on add terms and we wait for it to load. Now upon loading, we can select a term group. Remember, we've created a term group from here, which is the standard term group, so it should show here. Every term group we have created here should appear under this drop down. So we want this term we want to add it under this standard term group we just created. Now we can choose the term name. Let's call this first term. Number of open days, that means number of days the school is open. Let's use 120 for this. Then term position, since this is first term, that means the term position should be at the beginning because it is first term. So we save it and it should appear under this place. You can see first term is set. Now we do this for the remaining 2 terms. Next we have second term, and number of open days, let's use 110, and the term position, in this case second term should be in the middle, and we click on save changes, and there we have that. Finally, we add this for third term. And for third term, let's say 130 number of open days, and term position should be last. And we click on save changes, and we should have that all set up here. Now we have set up the terms. We have first, second, and third term all set up. So now we can go back to the dashboard and complete the school configuration. Now when we click on school configuration, we can see here we can now select a term. We now have first term. Initially we did not see this first term option, so here we can select it. I wanted to show us how we can edit this news flash, which is this: school resumes on the 22nd of January 2025. So if we change this to 2026 and save, it should reflect on the school website. Now when we come to the school website and refresh this, it should now be 2026 and not 2025. You can see that school resumes on the 22nd of January 2026, and that will be all. So with that, we can simply click on save if we've not done that before. And with this, we have successfully set up the terms for this session. However, in our session configuration, we will still need to come back later in the future to complete some setup. What we have just done now is just to create and activate a session, which is 2024-2025. We still have a few session configuration we will need to come and do later on here. For instance, if we come to class group, we haven't created any class group here, but here we have created the term group. So here we can select the terms group, and we've created a session as well. So but for the term group, we have not created, and that is why we will not be able to complete this session configuration now until we have created a class group. So with this, we've come to the end of today's tutorial session. In today's tutorial session, we were able to create and activate a session. We're able to do the school configuration, and finally we created terms. So with this, we've come to the end. Do well to go over it and practice till we see in the next lesson. Thank you.